We got a fast break, line up this bound to shake your spines up. Reflect the light on the latest in sports, keep your blinds up. Hilarious swag is what you get in transition, like the truth when your man spitting. Man, listen, Phil's your man on the wing, mostly known for shots fired. On the other end, he'll lock you down like you got priors. PMO be the one setting the pitch, back you down with the bigger picture. Words in the holy scripture. Need a fifth to stir the pot and add to the mixture. It's franchise, baby, pick it up. Yo, we need a fifth. We can get this mother loving show started.
Welcome, world. This is We Need a Fifth. This your man Mo. Got my man P in the building.
What up?
Got my man Hill at the table.
Yo, full staff.
Hey, let's start it off. March Madness. Did you guys get to see the games last night?
Unless you were under a rock. It was a hell of a game.
I know you're talking about the Duke North Carolina game, because that Villanova game, it was out of control from the very jump. Like, Kansas jumped on Villanova and never let up.
Yeah, I think the closest they got to was 6, but like J-Wright teams, they made a run. They cut it.
Yeah, but did you ever feel like they were ever in contention for the game? You ever felt like they were going to grab control of the game from Kansas at any point?
To cheat, I say yes and no. When they got it down to 7, with maybe 8 minutes left, I thought it's a possibility.
Okay.
They couldn't get a stop.
Yeah, and you know what, hell, and I think I said it during our group chats and whatnot. Kansas just looked so much more bigger and athletic than Villanova, to the point in our group chat, I was like, hey, when are we going to get the Villanova varsity team out here? Mm-hmm. Because Kansas just looked heads and tails above, stronger, taller, more athletic than Villanova. It just seemed like Villanova was just outmatched as far as talent was concerned. And then you have a semi-competent system that they're running in Kansas, and that was enough to push them over the top with Villanova.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. In previous shows going way, way back, I was touting Brown, small forward. Had a heck of a second half. Kansas just athletically and system-wise, which is unbeknownst to Bill Self, played a terrific game. And I can see why they're favorite now. Yeah.
I can see that too. I can see that. In spite of Self. Yeah, I'm in that camp too.
He's coaching. He's doing well.
By all ranks and measures, he's an excellent coach. That's what they tell me.
Is he the college coach Bud?
Yeah.
Because this is what I was, the energy we were getting with Coach Bud in the finals, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You have the Bobby Hurley transfer. Remy. Point guard, young Trey Young. Take it how you want to take it.
If that's what you want. I mean, I'm more impressed with their big man. Is it Mercer? Merker? Mecker or something like that? Mm-hmm. He's impressive. He's impressive. But I don't see him being a starter in the NBA. I see him as maybe coming off the bench or a JaVale McGee type of mold, as opposed to a DeAndre Ayton type of mold or Embiid type of mold. But yeah, Kansas really impressed me with that first game.
Yeah, Brown. I always tell him Lightfoot. He got bigs. You know what I'm saying? So depending on, I know I'm fast forwarding, but depending on the health of backup, they're going to beat you up inside. You know what I mean? And then the outside, inside out, and then having a heady point guard like we said with Remy makes formidable sense why Kansas is an early favorite. But the local product, we'll get to them. Stepping action on White Plains, Mr. Davis, point guard.
Okay,
he showed some toughness last night versus Duke.
Yeah. That UNC squad showed a lot of grit. I thought that game could have gone either way. I think at the end of the day, it came down to those missed free throws with Duke. Can't miss those free throws. And that was the difference in the game. Just the little things. When it comes to teams like Duke and UNC playing together and that rivalry, it's always going to come down to the little things. The systems are excellently run. They're going to be excellently coached. They're going to be prepared. Like I said, it's just going to come down to those little things. And missed free throws is part of the reason why Coach K is back at home today.
And historically, that is why Duke seemed to close teams out during Coach K's legacy. You know, they would go against more athletic teams in the end, but their sheer will to stick to a system and then have great free throw shooting at the end is what set them apart. And it's the total opposite this time with Moore and Basha. But, you know, Paolo missed one, Moore missed one, Roach missed some late free throws, and then Williams missed 2 at the end, which sealed it for them. So
yeah, those Williams ones are brutal.
Yes,
I felt bad for him. I really did.
Yeah,
that's saying a lot. I really don't feel bad for two players
at all.
I was getting soft in my old age, but yeah, I feel bad for the kid. I really did.
Because we want to see the game end on a game-winning shot, and not the fact that you have mental lapses at the free throw line. That's, if the game has been that good for this whole time, you ruin it. I felt cheated. Like, guys missed free throws and made it easier for them to close the game out. I wanted last possession, someone take the shot, and to be an all-time game. It felt like an all-time game, but I didn't like the ending.
It felt like it was going to be similar to that UConn game that I told you guys to look at, where it was going to go to double overtime or something to that effect.
Right.
And like you said, you kind of feel cheated because the whole game was back and forth. You couldn't take your eyes off the screen.
Right.
And you couldn't step away from the game or try to turn the channel because you were bound to miss something. And for it to be decided, like I said, by missed free throws, that's heartbreaking. You know, especially when you figure it's the last hurrah of Coach K. You figure we get at least one overtime. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting an overtime game, possibly double overtime. But like I said, we were cheated out of that.
I know Manic has some good defensive plays on Paolo, but from a coaching standpoint, do y'all think that Coach K should have had him have the ball more times down at the end? He looked like a man-child out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, he's the best player on the court.
By far, though.
So you want him with the ball. Like, it's not.
And he was getting it deep in the paint. It wasn't like, and if he did like 2 dribbles, he was in the paint. It was a heavy. All right, Caleb Love had a great game last night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Paolo was the best talent, but Caleb had the best game last night. I mean, but every time he had the ball, I said it was like LeBron. Like, no one's stopping you.
Yeah, and I think that's where it, for certain players, you have to start asserting yourself. And I think that's where he'll learn at the next level. Like, hey, give me the ball. This is the time. And I agree with you. I think, especially in the last 5 minutes, he wasn't touching the ball nearly enough for my liking. And part of that is Coach K. Part of that is him, though. And in the sense that, hey, guys, I'm hot, or this guy can't get me the ball. You know, and I think players like him or of that ilk have to start asserting themselves at some point.
Yeah.
P, you disagree?
Yeah, this reminds me of Rudy Gay in Connecticut. You know, he's talented as anyone on the court, but he just never really took over. And he's not, you know, everyone's different, but he never really grew into it. But, you know, we'll see.
Well, is that the system?
I think I blame, I don't want to say I blame, but I look at it more as coaching. Like, you're coaching. Get him the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. I think, like, let's take the Rudy Gay, for example. Hey, you're talking about a McDonald's All-American coming in. He's used to, most high school, middle school coaches, when they have talent of that caliber, unless you're a really strong, established coach, you're pretty much letting that player have a free reign as far as, hey, running the plays and being able to create. Because that's part of the talent you see, is that player's ability to create or whatnot. Get to college, and now you're telling that same player, oh, now you have to follow a system. And some college coaches aren't particularly strong. And hey, having consequences or accountability for those type of players, where you're saying, hey, I need you to be this type of leader. And if I'm not seeing it, I'm going to call you out on it. You're not getting that type of coaching in college. And from certain
Calhoun and Coach K.
Yeah.
If you're going to get it,
that would be it.
Yeah.
But
and that's where I would say, hey, part of it comes into the player in the sense that, hey, you have to be self-motivated. Part of the reason why Coach K brought you there is, hey, he saw your talent and your skill set and know that you can reach another level. And I'm sure during the course of the year, he's telling you, hey, we need you to do this. We need you to be aggressive. But at some point in time, you have to see the situation. You're on the court. You have to, hey, Manic is sticking me. They're committed to allowing Mannix to stick me, and this guy can't stop me. Fellas, the ball should come to me.
But yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, Manic is on me. Come on.
But if Coach K said that, they would give it to him. That's how I'm looking at it. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You're the coach. You could call the play that gets him the ball. I understand what you're saying, but to me, that's more like at a pro level.
No, and part of the reason why I'm thinking of, even as we're talking about this, I'm thinking of Ben Simmons and how he played in LSU. Like, hey, and he was one of those players like Branchero, highly touted, whatnot, supposed to be a good coach at LSU at the time. I forgot the guy's name now. But even when he was playing in college, there were games where Ben had the obvious mismatch. It wasn't demanding the ball. And for me, that was a problem for me. It is, that's one of the big things I always bring it up against Ben. Is like, I saw that in LSU that you didn't want to shoot the ball.
So where we differ is that you're pretty much saying it's the onus is more on the player. To me, at that age, at this level of basketball, I think it's more on the coach.
Okay.
I think it's a coach and the culture, because you guys are reading my mind. That's what I was going to piggyback on. LeBron, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant wanted to go to Duke. You're not getting that Kobe Bryant you saw in the NBA at Duke. As talented as he is, he'll give you maybe 16 a game, and that's a lot. At Duke, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is it the culture of the NCAA that won't force these guys to open up their true offensive bag? Like you won't. LeBron, I thought, would be like Bonchero did in the NCAA. Like, LeBron would get charges. LeBron would be super athletic, but it seems like the culture of NCAA would squeeze the great play. They will not allow the great play to be ultimately great. Shaq fouled out of the NCAA during games.
Yeah, it's very rare. I think of maybe like a Durant. I feel like Rick Barnes at the time was like, he wasn't playing no games. Oh, this is where I'm hanging my hat on. Kevin Durant's getting shots on shots.
Like, that's what I mean. Do you need a Rick Barnes? Do you need a Kevin Sampson? Like you just run, go crazy.
I think so, but at the same time, that usually doesn't equate for championships.
No, and it seems like the tournament will hone you in anyway, because they'll be like, you're not going to go one on something. You'll get charges. And it seems like
boxing won something. Yeah. Which is good coaching. I'm not letting one great player beat me, especially in college.
So who we got for the championship game? We know it's UNC and Kansas. Who you got?
Wow. Right on the spot, I would have to go. I'm gonna go North Carolina. Being that if that ankle could be healed quicker and in a day,
I'm going UNC.
Wow. I think I'm going Kansas.
That's not a bad choice. Their favorite,
and I think it's that big man that did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if UNC's big man if that ankle is bothering him at all, he's not going to be able to deal with that big boy down low.
11 and 21 is impressive. 21 boards last night, and that's what second chance points with North Carolina. If he's able to give you anything on that ankle,
and that's the thing. And I'm assuming that he's not going to be 100%. And I think for UNC to beat Kansas, he has to be at 100%.
Okay.
And just so that he keeps that big man for Kansas honest, down there and makes him work. If that big man and Lightfoot don't have to work against him, it's going to be a long night for UNC. but I can see why you say UNC, because if their big man is healthy, I would probably give the edge to UNC as well. But I'm assuming that he's not going to be completely healthy. Fellas, I feel like I'm talking to a tough crowd right now. The women's bracket. Did you guys get to see any of the Final Four games?
Yeah, so the Connecticut game.
Okay. You enjoyed that?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were balling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you put your man P on? Put your man Kyle on? I mean,
I missed it.
Wow. P, I'm telling that UConn was North Carolina State game was what we wanted UNC and Duke to be last night.
Which was a good game. Duke was a good game.
And to your point, Hill,
the ending.
It was a great game. UNC Duke was a great game. But what me and Hill were talking about earlier about feeling cheated, if we weren't cheated, they would have gave us what we got with UConn and North Carolina State.
It was tough counter programming. I couldn't get away from Milwaukee, Philly. I'm not even gonna hold you. No, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. I'm not even gonna hold you. Giannis and Durant. I'm sorry.
That was a heck of a game too.
I couldn't leave.
We'll leave the big boys in, but that was a heck of a game as well.
Yeah, but Paige Beckers was balling, yo.
Both?
Yeah. Did you get to catch the South Carolina Louisville game?
No, but happy about the outcome.
Yeah. And South Carolina Louisville wasn't as exciting as UConn North Carolina State. South Carolina pretty much had control of that game from jump ball.
Dawn Stanley's, she's here to stay.
Yeah.
And judging from the McDonald's All-American game, she's only retooling.
Yeah.
And what year is Boston in? It's play of the year, correct?
Yeah. I think this is her junior year, I believe. I want to say.
Yeah. I know we spoke a couple episodes ago about basically the women. It might have been off air actually. The other teams catching up to Connecticut. They've caught up.
Yeah. Oh, that
summer surpassed.
Because I think their last championship. I'm just catching up with all this stuff. But I think 2016, I think, and South Carolina won in 2017. So it's kind of like
it's been a minute.
They don't have the hold that they once had. No, they're one of now.
Yeah, and you would think I would get enough of picking against UConn because I picked against them the last 2 rounds and they won the last 2 rounds.
I feel comfortable picking them against them this time.
I think this is the time you.
I think we're all in unison. She's starting to have like a little Pat Summitt feel. Like she is. Yeah. That's the premier program outside of UConn and Stanford to go to now.
And that's what we were talking about earlier too, like about Pat Summitt is right. He right there, kind of holding Connecticut back. But yeah, Dawn Staley, you can't put any better. I think she's, I don't want to say the new Pat Summitt because she's the one and only Dawn Staley. Pat Summitt is, one of the greats that would do it. But she's coming. This South Carolina program is here. I don't think they're coming. I think they're here. Yeah.
And I agree with you guys. I think South Carolina is just too strong. And with Miss Boston down low, I think they're going to be a handful for UConn. And I know UConn they still got a couple of players injured, so they're not working at full strength. And I think that's going to be an issue for them.
At full strength, I still don't think it would matter. I mean, Dawn,
I think it would be
talent being equal, and Paige is that miscellaneous factor which could dominate a game. You can always have a person just take over a game, and she has that capability. I'm really seeing Dawn's coaching being better than Gino's, which is a rough thing to say.
Talk about it. So
I'm not quite there yet.
Not so much in the fact. Listen, Gino is Gino. So Gino has had the recipe of success, which has led him up to now. But he has had a rough couple of years, and this year has been more so. Fate and luck is what that got him there.
But I don't think that UConn's slip from the national championship game has been a result of a lack of coaching or diminishing returns on coaching. I think that what you're finding is that we have more great coaches out there, and Dawn Staley is among them. Also, in the past, where UConn and Tennessee and maybe Stanford kind of monopolized most of the great female basketball talent, you're seeing that disperse now, where women are starting to go for a Louisville, go for a Michigan. We're seeing talent go elsewhere than the traditional powerhouses in women's college basketball.
Yeah, but
I think that's more to it.
But I'm not taking away from his coaching. I think his coaching has been his coaching for. He hasn't changed his success. You know what I mean? Like, so, no, has he changed his style? He had 7 of the top 50 players on that UConn team. Mm-hmm. It's just that Gino is still going with Gino ways. You know what I mean? So, like, Dawn is bringing a new type of coaching apparatus for her, the way that she's doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just adjusting with the times and the players of now. And Gino's still using that Gino recipe to great players now. Players are different from when he had then. It's just like the talent you saying are the same, but the personalities are different.
So for what I'm getting from you, you're not saying he's not a good coach.
Gino is an excellent coach.
But okay.
Gino has not adjusted to the player of today. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still using that Gino.
He hasn't adjusted to coaching.
Correct.
So I was going to ask you, do you think it's just like the talent pool either being spread out or even getting deeper?
No. Listen, I think Gino has great players. I think Gino has a system in which why would you question? Coach K has a system and say, why would you question? Mm-hmm. And I questioned Coach K's system last night and said, you have to adjust. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is still not the whole, listen, I saw his players pat down. I saw his players run. They ran a zone and it took Duke out of the game. And I saying, well, you have zone breakers. Paolo is a zone breaker. Mm-hmm. Get him the ball at any time you can. But then you're saying, why am I questioning Coach K? He knows what he's doing, and it led to a loss. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't box players into your thoughts and think that it's going to keep. All you can say is, hey, Coach K's been doing it for 40 years. Who am I to say so? Well, players are different now.
But you're kind of saying it, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you're kind of saying 2 all-time great coaches, call it what it is, got out-coached.
Absolutely. And I think he'll get out-coached tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing, but I understand what you're saying. It's not that they're bad coaches or they lost it. It's just they haven't adjusted to 2022.
Right. Like, so having Phil Jackson coach LeBron now, and you'll say, LeBron, okay, I want you in this system and it'll work. It worked for Kobe, it worked for Shaq. And you'll say, like, why isn't Phil having success with LeBron? It's because that style is different for the times of the players that you have now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I can never question their greatness. It is what it is. Right. Gotcha. But I'm watching Dawn out there coaching and making adjustments. And it's like, yo, Dawn is really coaching and she's clicking in with the times of right now, even towards of her outfits that she is wearing. She's not particularly having like the outfits that, and I'm like, yo, she is really in tune with her team. And it's a fun type thing. So for one, she's that authoritarian and she's that relatable coach. Mm-hmm. She's going after, they're doing dances, they're jumping. Gino is still Gino. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But you would see a way different Paige Beckett if she was on South Carolina. Mm-hmm. It would be Paige open up this offense. You would see South Carolina winning by 40s and 50s. But that system is, and that's the whole thing I say about NCAA. I hate the whole, you're putting to my system as opposed to letting that spectacular talent just show itself. That's what I want to see. So I want to see you holding back the only person to hold back Michael Jordan is Dean Smith.
Right.
I don't want that.
I don't want you to adapt to my system. My system will adapt to you.
Correct.
Basically.
I didn't want to see them come to the NBA to say, we knew Jordan was a great player by what he was doing on the court. But then you go to Chicago Bulls and you say, he was the greatest player of all time? How does the greatest player of all time don't have 4 championships in college?
He averaged 30. It couldn't average 20 in college.
You see Kobe Bryant go to Duke and you say, he was the second greatest 2-guard of all time and he got 1 championship at Duke? LeBron James was held at Michigan State? Like, it doesn't equate.
Championship games tonight.
Oh, I got the Gamecocks.
Let me guess where Hill's going.
I do, and it's because I don't. If Gino allows Paige to just say, Paige, go crazy, and everyone get out of her way and just follow her flow, I got Connecticut in this game. But the way his substitutions, he takes her out at different times, it drives me nuts. It's still here. It's my team. And it's supposed to be for our consumption. I want more. Paige is a talent. To me, she's a baller. You close your eyes and you say, like, it's from the feministic type view. She has game. 1-2 pull up and then out dribble. I'm like, yo, this girl could ball. Timeout, sit down. Like, no one wants that.
And to be fair to Gino, remember she's coming off a major
injury. Yeah, so don't use her. Let her go to the WNBA. Sit her.
I feel all right.
You care about her career that much? Don't play her. I'm in agreement with that if that's the case. But if you want to win, then you play her and you let her go. Balls out. You know what I'm saying? But if you care about her career, Durant, sit her.
Got you. P, who you got?
You know me. I love some Dawn Staley. Gamecocks.
It's a clean sweep. I got the Gamecocks too. Hey, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think. Who do you got winning the NCAA tournament? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or email us directly at weneedafifth@gmail.com. Hey guys, just a quick mention. We have the Harriet Tubman statue, the Freedom's Journey in White Plains, Renaissance Plaza. It's going to be showing there for the next, I believe, 2 months. It's going to be there until June 30th. So if you get a chance, you're in New York, in White Plains area, go check it out. It's a great statue. P, me and Hill promised our fifths that we were going to talk about this when we got you in the building.
Couldn't do it without you.
Thought y'all wasn't going to see me.
And I know you got a caller on the line waiting to talk about this. Talking about, of course, the Chris Rock, Will Smith slapping incident at the Oscars. P.
Okay, so, we're going in, we had to do it. We need a fifth. The slap heard around the world. Where were you when you heard it? What is your reaction to it? And we have two very special call-ins today. Very near and dear to all our hearts. Yep. First, my ride or die, my big sis, Eddie. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Long time listener, first time call.
Absolutely, I think I know her.
Yeah. I think we might know her.
It's a family affair.
Good to hear from you, Ev. Good to have you here, man.
Good to be here. Big fan of the show. You guys are doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Clearly know you over 40 years, but go ahead. Put some time in on this.
Yeah. So this is let's go right into it.
Yeah.
Sis, where were you when you were you watching Oscars? Did you get the text? And what were your thoughts when you first saw the footage?
It's an interesting story. I watch the Oscars every year. So I was kind of sort of watching it. But of course it's over 3 hours long. So I wasn't watching it, throughout straight. And that night it just so happened that TV One was doing an unsung on Pete Rock. Shout out to Pete Rock from Money Earned in Mount Vernon.
Yes, a hero.
So
with him too.
So I actually was watching Pete Rock, and I get a text on my phone of an unedited clip of what was going on, Asian language TV. So you talk about the slap heard around the world. I don't know still to this day what country or what language was being spoken, but you could tell even, by the way someone was speaking, like they were just shocked in disbelief and was questioning whatever language it was, what was going on. So then I switched off from Pete Rock and tried to rewind to the moment that this apparently happened. And as I'm rewinding, I see Questlove got the award for Best Documentary for Summer of Soul, which I actually saw, and it's really great. And I would encourage everyone else to see it. Great documentary.
Yep.
But I couldn't even be bothered to stop at the acceptance speech because I'm still trying to, find, this slap and this exchange that took place. So, even though I was sort of watching the Oscars, I wasn't watching at that moment. I got the text. And then the text was the unedited version with, Chris Rock cursing and then, Will Smith cursing from his chair, no bleeps, no edits. So that's how I found out about it. So obviously my first initial reaction was I was just stunned. I couldn't really understand, especially since it was Asian language TV. Was this a joke? Is this for real? Just trying to wrap my head around it. And I think my initial gut reaction, I was trying to understand what just happened. Why did it happen? I guess maybe trying to justify what happened because I couldn't believe what happened. I couldn't believe what I saw and heard. So I guess just really, initially I was shocked, very sympathetic to Chris Rock. He's in a position where, some may say that, was he,
At a line.
for lack of a better word, a punk, should he fought back, hit back, what would you do in that situation if you're shocked, stunned, not expecting someone to walk up on you just in general and then to kind of like even attack you, secondly. So it, just, I guess my first initial thought, I was just shocked, stunned, and wasn't even sure I could believe what my eyes were seeing, basically.
Okay. Now that you had time to process it now, days later, what is your feel of the situation? Because I hate to say take sides. It's like a rough way to put it. But after processing it, how do you feel about the whole situation in its entirety?
In its entirety, sad and unfortunate. Ultimately, Will Smith was wrong. I've heard a lot of opinions about, him defending his wife. It was just, Chris Rock is that kind of a comic. A lot of his stuff is funny. It may be a little bit edgy, cruel, but ultimately funny.
Right.
Maybe not in the best taste, but funny. And, when I did get back to rewind and see the moment, I don't know if it was a nervous laugh or an uncomfortable laugh or a genuine laugh, but Will Smith initially did laugh at the joke.
Agreed.
And then you see the shot of Jada, and she clearly was not pleased, to put it lightly.
Right. Yeah.
And so I don't know if that played a factor into Will's change of mood. I don't know. But even if he's sort of defending his wife's honor, that's just not an acceptable way of doing it. I know we sometimes have a cowboy mentality of, a husband defending his wife or a man defending his woman, but ultimately that's just not the way to handle it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that he wasn't arrested? Especially,
I wouldn't say surprised.
Or disappointed that he wasn't arrested. I mean, I'm trying to push the envelope. I mean,
and I'll speak for myself too, in the sense that, and I was talking to P about this off air. I'm kind of disappointed that he wasn't arrested, and I'm kind of disappointed that he wasn't escorted out of the Oscars. I know when I first saw it, my gut reaction honestly was like inappropriate in the sense that hey, my first gut reaction was, oh, Chris Rock, you mess with his wife. Hey, there will be consequences with that when you mess with a man's wife. Now, some consequences is going to have him handling it civilly and coming up to you and saying, hey, you better keep my wife out of your name, your mouth. If not, there's going to be repercussions, or it's going to be handled uncivilized like Will Smith did it, where he just come up and smack you. Yeah. But along with that, even if I can justify that, my thought was, hey, there's consequences to that if you choose to make that decision. And the consequence, just like, hey, if I have a problem with my next door neighbor and I decide to go outside and just smack him, there's consequences to that. Either he's going to physically retaliate, or he's going to call the cops, or he's going to do both, and I'll end up in jail. My point is, hey, I didn't see any consequences for Will Smith. And especially in America, as a black man, we know that's not our reality. We always face the consequences. So why is he different?
Yeah, I just think this whole topic, as I, hear Evie, he'll ask the questions, well, this unpacking everything. It's just, this is such a polarizing thing because I almost started laughing, Evie, because we had dinner last night. So I'm hearing her say that, the whole cowboy thing, defending your wife. Her better half is like, he would have done the same thing.
But it's understandable.
And most men,
this is the same household, right? And they're kind of like polar opposites. She's saying he was a cowboy, he disappointed him. Her better half is saying, well, good thing that we're not, and we weren't there, because if Chris Rock said something about you, Chris Rock still would have got smacked.
You see, and with that, my wife goes, it's about time. You know what I mean? It's you. How many more times can black women be disrespected? That's my wife's view on it. And I said, granted, the most disrespected demographic we have. Period. Can't fight it. But I said there are societal norms that we have. You know what I mean? Like, you literally just can't. Then he's gonna go around smacking every person. Then that if that's the case, because now he's opened up the fact that, one, you can't be a comedian and do your job. Because now, if you don't like the comp, I was always told, don't sit in the front row during a comic show. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're gonna get picked on. If you have thin skin, you shouldn't be there. So this is their job. I saw nothing wrong with what he did. And the response to it, I thought, was adamantly wrong. And the problem with cameras is that there are multiple cameras and there are multiple views. So one, she laughed at some jokes during the show. You don't want to smack Regina Hall? I mean, other comics went up there and said things toward them as a couple, and they laughed at it. I felt you preyed on the weak. You had some initiative to go on Chris Rock for some reason, and you took your chance to do it.
Now, I don't think Chris Rock should take on the burden of every, all the slights that black women have ever, suffered. However, I mean, there's so many nuances to this. I mean, quite frankly, Chris Rock has previously taken a dig at, Jada. And I don't know if it's unrelated or related or relevant or not. But, back in 2015 with the whole Oscars, So White campaign, Jada, I believe, taped or posted a statement that she was going to boycott the Oscars because at that time, her husband, Will Smith, had a movie, I believe it was Concussion, where I believe he played a South African doctor.
They're going to Nigerian doctor. Tell me the truth.
Right. Regarding NFL concussions, I believe. And, there was talk or consideration of him being nominated for Best Actor Oscar, and it didn't come through. And she made the statement, well, I have to bow out from the Oscars. I'm boycotting the Oscars. And, Chris Rock made a comment, well, you can't boycott the Oscars. You were never invited.
Correct. That's funny.
That's funny. But it's a previous, knock at Jada. Is that related? Did Will remember that in that moment? Was that something that was forgotten about? I don't know. So it's not just, this whole black women, take on so many slights. There's specific slights in Chris Rock's case. So I don't know.
Right. And Abby, that's what I think I agree with you on. And I was talking to Malika about this last week. It's so many layers to this. And what it comes down to is success. I think it's just simply success and the lack thereof on Jada's part. And I think she needs to be honest with that, with her man and herself. I mean, Jada Pinkett Smith is a very talented person. No, she is. She's a great actress, but it's been honed.
Great?
No, she was. And I think the fact that she feels that she should have some type of notoriety as her husband at the least. She feels that way. It's the Kyrie thing. Kyrie doesn't feel that he's any less than LeBron James. Jada feels that she is a great actress who had to sacrifice her career.
But I don't think that has to do with Will Smith's insecurities.
No, but see, but the fact of his love for her, and she knows how to play that on him. She knows the attraction that he has for her. You know what I mean? So it's more of the person who knows. Like my dad always used to say, the person who has all the power in a relationship is the one who loves the least. And the fact that Will Smith loves her so much, he's willing to. Why else? Listen, if Will Smith doesn't have this feel for Jada and to do this and his insecurities, then he has a heck of a mental health issue.
My thing is,
well, I want to jump in here because I don't follow social media, but unfortunately, my better half does.
Right.
And from what he's been telling me, Jada Pinkett Smith is being dragged on social media. And I'm not sure if I agree with this, voodoo magic woman casting a spell on Will Smith. Maybe she has this voodoo magic, maybe she doesn't. But ultimately, we are discussing a 53-year-old man who's lived most of his life, at least pretty much all of his adult life, in Beverly Hills, California. And he, is in a state of, in his life where he has to take responsibilities for his feelings, actions, and reactions. And I understand that Jada plays a part of it, but ultimately the buck stops with Will Smith.
And because she can't be responsible for his insecurities. And I think, and to flow into what you're saying, as far as how his relationship with Jada prompted him to do what he wanted to do. If anything, I would think, hey, he was trying to compensate. I know there are a couple of excerpts in his book where he says, hey, he wished he had a little pock in him, a little bit more pock in him. And I think, hey, he saw his wife uncomfortable with the joke and thought, this is a great opportunity to get more pock in me, to show her the pock in me. That's not on Jada. That's on him.
To me, that's all on Jada. There was jokes prior to that about his kids. His kids. If you're not going to defend your children over jokes of that nature, and then you respond to her doing eye roll, she has more. Bro, again, yes, that's his insecurities, but she is the cause of his insecurities during that time.
It makes the way I'm hearing it, and you may be saying it totally different.
Correct.
And I'm just not hearing it correctly. The way I'm hearing it, it seems like you're saying like, hey, her eye roll was the trigger to say, hey, Will, go. And like, it's almost insinuating like she whispered in his ear, oh, he hurt my feelings. Go smack the crap out of him.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is that what makes it so great is there's no way to prove it. So I'm saying, like, this is not objective. This is all subjective.
Yeah.
So
correct. Correct.
With this is that there have been many instances in which, to me, she's not there. This is an award show of straight laughter and anything of that nature. If he doesn't have her there as a trigger, he's not going up there. If she was home and he made a joke about, hey, listen, pardon me by saying, listen, your bald-headed wife's going to do a great thing on G.I. Jane 2, I don't think you have an incident there.
But even in that case, and I understand what your feelings on it is that it's kind of almost she's the taskmaster. But like Abby was saying, at 53 years old,
right?
No one should have that type of control. And I get it. He's saying that he loves more. I get that part. But it's like he has to be held accountable for it. Although, like you said, she was the trigger,
right?
But he did it. That's like you telling somebody to do something to somebody.
And also,
I'm not going. You know what I mean? Like, that's
No,
the person.
I get it, but at the same time, you're telling me that you're telling me you're thinking that for lack of play on words, you're thinking that Will has more will than he's showing.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
And part of it is, hey, this little tour he's been on the last year or so, where he's talking about get well and all that stuff, and the stuff he's doing for the environment, and talking about spirituality and knowing yourself and stuff like that. All right, a man like that, I'm not expecting him to be falling for no high school dating game.
Yeah, but it seems to me that, and again, like you said, it's subjective. You don't know for sure. But I just feel like this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not even sure it was really this joke. He might have had something. They might have had something going on before this,
right?
And I just feel at the end of the day, he snapped. He just lost it.
Yeah, and that's my thing is this being a straw that breaks the camel's back. If she's not there, you think this is a straw that breaks the camel's back?
No.
You know what I'm saying? I have him.
I'm definitely not saying that she hasn't. Obviously, she.
Listen, I have her as Geppetto, and I have him as Pinocchio. Seriously, I think the Will Smith that you love to enjoy is just a facade. That Will Smith that should be on the couch is inside their house. It's a sad case.
Abby, before we let you go, we want to give you the last word on this.
Oh my gosh, there's so much more to say.
I know.
Yeah, no, we're here every week.
We're definitely.
Yeah, but let me say this. You know, I actually have a Black female friend who actually suffers from alopecia, and in terms of where anyone falls on the issue, you never know. This is a woman who suffers the same, condition that Jada Pinkett Smith suffers. And she not only wanted Will Smith arrested, she pretty much wants Will Smith under the jail. So you can never tell, where anyone falls on the issue.
Yeah.
What I do want to say in terms of lessons learned, I mean, ultimately, this goes back to the Oscars. And I only have one word regarding, lesson that needs to be learned. And that one word is security. And I know that might throw you off, but it's just, you can't have people rolling up on other people on the stage. And I think the time has come that that's disallowed. We had that with Kanye West and, Taylor Swift. We had that going back with Little Mama, with, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. You just can't have people roll up. So let's just start from the basics. Stop having people roll up on people on stage and leaving the people on stage vulnerable. So let's just start from there.
That's excellent. I think it's an excellent way to
definitely.
That's a smart measure to take. Yeah.
And go figure. Adhere to societal norms.
And have security around rich people.
No one gets slapped if he doesn't get on the stage.
This is great. I like to feel safe.
Yeah.
You're excellent,
right.
like always.
Thank you guys for having me. Have a great rest of the show.
Thanks for calling in. Love you.
Thanks a lot.
Love you too. Love you guys. All right.
Love you.
Bye. Bye.
We got another caller on the line talking about Chris Rock and Will Smith slap heard around the world. Next caller on the line, author extraordinaire, author of the book Stages, Malika Maccabee. My mom.
Well,
I might have heard of her before.
Yeah.
One of my unofficial neighborhood moms. Welcome.
Welcome.
And one of my official family member moms. So she should know one or two things about a slap and a beating.
Yeah. We're the fifth. You'll never hear a cleaner show. We are on the manners right now.
Nah, I love this woman. I got to hear this one though.
Thank you, guys. I'm so glad to be online. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
We're glad. We love you. So glad to have you here.
So let's start off. Where did you first see or hear about the incident with Chris Rock and Will Smith?
I actually saw it on the news. I'm not a fan of the Oscars, so I didn't watch it. But every evening I always check the news. And when I saw that, I was like, I don't believe this. I had to switch from channel to channel to see it a replay.
All right, now that you know it hasn't been staged, which we thought it was.
Yeah, that was the
and you had time to process your thoughts. What do you think about the slap heard around the world?
Well,